Oh my god, June. Really? This is not the best time for this at all. June was kneeling on the floor, breathing heavily. Hey, June, what happened? Are you alright? Santa ran to June and wrapped his arm around her before she could collapse all the way. Jesus. Burning up. Your fever's back. Are you okay? June's fever had returned, again for no apparent reason. Her eyes were watery and her eyelids drooped. Her breath came in dry, shallow gasps. I'm okay. Really, I'm fine. You should be worrying about Lotus. She was breathing hard now, and she could barely summon the strength to talk. Junpei was torn. He couldn't leave June alone in the state she was in. But every moment they waited, Ace was farther away. Lotus's life in his hands. What was Junpei supposed to do? June's eyes drifted to Junpei. She managed to muster a weak smile. Junpei, don't worry about me. I just need a little rest. I'll be fine. Don't you remember? I just needed to rest a little bit last time. So please save Lotus. Think about what Ace has already done, Junpei. When he's got what he needs from Lotus, you really think he's going to let her just walk away? You guys go on ahead. As soon as June starts feeling better, we'll follow you. Go! Junpei looked at June. She nodded once. She couldn't manage much more. But it was all the confirmation Junpei needed. His resolve was set. All right. Come on, Seven, we're going after Ace. Santa, you take good care of June. I'm trusting you. Santa nodded. Junpei turned before he had a chance to change his mind, started running toward the door. He could hear Seven's heavy footsteps behind him. Let's go! Junpei and Seven exploded into the hallway, their feet pounding on the metal floor as they ran. Junpei and Seven had finally arrived at the church, exhausted and out of breath. As their lungs struggled to catch their breath, their eyes frantically scanned the room. No sign of Ace or Lotus. You think they already went through? He reached up to wipe a palm full of sweat from his brow. Maybe. Even as he spoke, Junpei was already on his way to the larger of the number 9 doors. He looked at the red. The display panel read vacant. He spun around and headed toward the smaller door. The red would tell him if Ace and Lotus had moved to the another room. Yep, engaged. It's occupied. That means Ace and Lotus went through here. Seems like it. Junpei and Seven stepped away from the door. They retreated to the center of the room and began to talk. What do we do now? What should we do? Well, the big door is still vacant, but the two of us can't do anything with it. First of all, our digital route is not 9. Just then, as they were pondering what to do next, there was a noise. Noise like someone hitting a thick wooden panel. Junpei looked up, surprised. Seven followed suit, his eyes jumping around the room looking for the source of the sound. It wasn't long before they found the altar. Or more precisely, what was on it. The coffin. Yeah. Let's open it. How? By force. I don't think that's going to happen. But you never know till you try, right? The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures. Who said that? I forget. Anyway, we've got to try. Junpei and Seven leapt to the coffin. They grabbed hold of what purchase they could find, and pulled. See, didn't I tell you? You could just pull it open. Why would it have something like that? Seven pointed at a keypad on the side of the coffin. Right. So unless you put in the right passcode, it's not going to open it. The noise hadn't stopped. In fact, as it continued, it had only gotten louder and more forceful. What were they supposed to do, Junpei wondered. Was there some sort of clue somewhere? What? They stood there for a few moments, staring at the coffin, and then Seven spoke. Hey, Junpei, remember you mumbling something about some weird numbers over by the bathroom in the first class cabin? You got those numbers by solving the secret message Clover was holding, right? Truth in God or something like that. Yeah, that's right. What about it? Well, maybe that number's the passcode for this thing, too. Come on, that's impossible. Those numbers were the code to unlock that safe. Yeah, but the person who set up that safe in this coffin is the same person, right? Zero set up both of these. Yeah, probably. Well, then they might have set the same passcode for both of them. That's ridiculous. Why don't you just try it? I mean, it's not like it'll make things any worse. It'd just be a waste of time. There's no way they're the same number. How do you know that? You never know until you try. The only necessity for success is the willingness to suffer 1,000 failures. Who said that? You? Fine. He knelt down in front of the keypad and looked at it. Perhaps because he'd repeated them so many times before, the numbers came easily to Junpei's mind. 1438 3421. Quickly, he typed them in. He checked that he'd entered the right numbers, took a deep breath, and pressed the E button. It only took a moment. Oh, dang. Well, you've got to be kidding me. There was a click. And with a heavy clunk, the lid of the coffin slid off onto the floor. Someone sat up from inside. Snake! You. Why? Dang. Dude, you don't look too good. Those voices. No. Junpei and Seven, unless I'm mistaken. Where are the others? Are they elsewhere? Of course, there was no reason Snake would have known anything about where anyone else would be. Junpei and Seven looked at one another. There was a great deal he needed to know. His sister's dead, man. They had to tell him something, however, so they began to talk. Snake explained to them how he came to be locked in the coffin. Apparently he'd been hit with some sort of knockouting gas, and Junpei and Seven explained what had happened to the rest of them. There was one thing, however, that neither Seven nor Junpei could bring themselves to say. That Ace had killed Clover. They feared that if Snake knew, he might, well, go insane. He decided as much by a look at the moment, but by a look at the moment Snake had climbed out of the coffin. Snake's story explained frustratingly little. Zero's true identity was a mystery, as were his intentions. Why had Zero put Gaiax in Snake's clothes? If Zero had left a note for them to say the notary game had been played 9 years before, was there some connection? Junpei put the question to Snake. His answer was less than illuminating. What are you talking about? I apologize, but I have no idea what you're saying. It seemed as though Snake was, perhaps, not being entirely honest, but that knowledge did Junpei and Seven little good. No matter how many times they asked, he insisted that he knew nothing. It was becoming clear that Snake wouldn't give in. Every second that he spent asking him was a second wasted. Their time limit was fast approaching. The snakes released from the coffin had changed nothing. They still needed to fall away as quickly as possible. However, they stood in silence, the overpowering atmosphere of the chapel almost stifling. Junpei, Seven, and Snake simply stood, at a loss for what they should do next. What do we do now? He glanced over at Snake's wrist. Sure enough, he could see the 2 on the bracelet on Snake's wrist. 3 of us can't make a digital root of 9. Yeah, we just get 5. We're stuck here then. Oh, hey, I just remembered something. Seven began patting his pockets as if he were checking to see if any of them held anything. What? What is it? I found something earlier. What did you find? This. He'd finally found the pocket he wanted and his hand dove into it. Seven pulled out something round and metal. It's a 0. 0, what? Bracelet. There was no mistaking the number glowing at them from the face of the like a cartoon eye. 0. 0's bracelet. Are you saying that 7 has the number 0 bracelet? Yeah. Where did you get that? Snake's question was innocent enough, but if he learned the truth, if he'd been able to see, he would have noticed 7 took a look away. Clover gave it to me. She did. Yeah. How did she come by it? Well, she found it, see, on the other side of door 1, ADAC, the captain's quarters. She asked me to hold on to it because it was too big and bulky for her to be looking around. It was a lie, and Junpei knew it. I haven't actually looked at it yet. Didn't want to disturb the crime scene, you know. Basic stuff. Well, I did borrow one thing. Alright, Junpei. Been nice knowing you. What? What? Oh, come on, man, I'm just kidding. Still, just in case, I want to make sure the 0 bracelet gets picked up by the red. Snake, give me a hand, alright? Without waiting for a response, he started walking toward the door. Junpei and Snake followed him, quietly. Before long, they found themselves in front of the larger of the 2 doors. Seven and Snake put their palms on the red. Once they'd done that, Seven put the number 0 bracelet on the scanner panel as well. The 3rd asterisk appeared on the screen. Now they just needed to pull the lever and the door would open. Huh? Why isn't it opening? Well, the 3rd asterisk lit up, so it must have registered the 0 bracelet. Maybe it isn't actually 0. What? That bracelet may not actually produce the number 0 when scanned. That is what I'm saying. Why don't we try a few different combinations? Perhaps we can determine what number that bracelet actually contains. Junpei nodded. He decided to use the following combination. It's always the middle choice. At all times, always the middle choice. Junpei plus 7 was the mysterious bracelet. If that combination worked, then the mysterious bracelet's number was 6. I scanned in their bracelets. Wait. What? 6 is June's. Yeah, so it would seem. 7 clearly hadn't thought their experimentation would produce anything useful, and looked rather confused. Snake was, as usual, calm and smug. The door slid closed. Junpei's forehead furrowed as he thought. That meant the number for the mysterious bracelet was 6. But 6 was June's. But how could it be 6? The display on the bracelet clearly showed a 0. Suddenly, from somewhere far beneath them, they heard the creak and groan of tearing metal. With that came the sound of water pouring into parts of the ship that had, until recently, been dry. Oh man, that's not good. I guess our time's just about up, huh? At any rate, we know now that the door can be opened. Let's go. But, Snake, are you sure? Yeah, you know that only Junpei and I can go through this way. You needn't worry. I have a solution to this problem. My last resort. But if now is not the time for last resorts, then when? Last resort? Junpei, Seven, and Snake ran, full tilt, down a long, straight hallway. They were headed for the stern of the ship and had no time for distractions. As they ran, Seven spoke. Gotta admit, you really surprised me there, kid. Couldn't figure out how you were going to get out of that one. How come you didn't do that right off the bat? As I told you, it was the last resort. Had I used it at the beginning of the game, I would have come under a great deal of suspicion. He took his arm off. I imagine most people would have taken it to mean that I was zero, once they'd convinced themselves of that. I wasn't optimistic about my chances of making it out of here alive, let alone unscathed. I felt it best to play my cards close to the chest, as it were. That way, if I were in a situation where there was nothing else I could do, I'd have a little trick up my sleeve. I'd just take my bracelet off. Snake's plan had been simple but effective. He'd simply removed his bracelet. How? To Junpei, it had looked as though Snake had simply crushed the bones of his hand until they were small enough to fit through the wristband. Of course, that would have been practically impossible, so how had he done it? The brother's left arm is, it's not like a normal person's arm. It's fake. It's not a real arm. Snake had slid the bracelet off and tossed it into the coffin. With it gone, he had little to fear from the numbered doors. He'd walk through the door easily, without authenticating. He stepped out of the other side unscathed, and began running down the hall alongside Seven and Junpei. They kept running for a while longer and eventually came upon a set of stairs, leading downward on the right side of the hallway. They stopped and peered down the staircase. As far as they could tell, it went all the way to the bottom of the deck. There didn't seem to be any flooding. They nodded quickly to one another and jogged down the stairs. It took only a few minutes to make their way to the bottom of the deck. There was a single hallway in front of them, at the end of which was a single door. Junpei threw it open. Whoa. Inside was a massive iron gate. The plate was affixed to the top of it. It read Incinerator. Incinerator? Oh my, that doesn't sound very pleasant. Do you see a lever near the gate, perhaps? Yeah, right over there. Here. How did you know that? Well, I'd be happy to regale you with the story. I imagine it should only take half a day or so. Junpei grumbled, gave Snake a dirty look, and jogged over to the lever. If you pull it, the door ought to open. Got it. He pulled the lever down. With the rumble of an ancient motor, the door opened. There was no need to hold back and no time to hesitate. They pushed their way inside. Standing in front of them were Ace and Lotus. Ace still held the revolver in his hand. It was still pressed hard against Lotus's temple. A small dark bruise had begun to form near the tip. Even from several yards away, Junpei could see that Lotus was shaking. She was terrified. Perhaps more interesting was what Junpei saw behind her. 9. Another number 9 door. But why? Why was there another one? The door stopped Junpei in his tracks. It simply shouldn't have been there. As his brain finally began to consider why, the whine of a warning klaxon filled the air, drowning out any thought. Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Oh dang. Automatic incineration will take place in 9 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Oh my. How exciting. You've run quite a show here, Zero. A terrifying smile twisted Ace's face. What's the matter? Too frightened to understand. Here, let me explain. It said that the incineration system is about to activate. In 9 minutes, the room will be engulfed in flame. Ah, who are you? You don't recognize me. Hurt. It's me, Snake. Snake. Ah, yes, you're alive. I'm afraid your bizarre style had me confused. I'm quite glad to see that you're alive. Ace's voice didn't change. Snake ground his teeth. If you don't mind my asking, how did you get here? Snake, Junpei, 7. 3 of you couldn't have opened the door with a 9. Did you use Clover's bracelet, perhaps? What? Ah, well, your reaction suggests that you did not. Hold on. Why do you think we'd have Clover's bracelet? Junpei felt his chest tighten. Oh, they haven't told you. Told me what? Clearly not. Normally I would take some time and enjoy the moment, but I'm afraid my time is at a premium just now. I'll just have to make this quick. Clover. Don't do it, Ace. Keep your mouth shut. Clover. Said stop it. Don't listen to him, Snake. Junpei could feel his voice going hoarse, but Snake didn't listen to him. What happened to Clover? Ace looked at him. The corner of his mouth curled into a hook of a cruel smile. Clover died. The color left Snake's face. It wasn't very colorful to begin with, but whatever. He shook his head weakly. No, that's not true. That's impossible! It's a lie. It has to be a lie. Oh, it's quite true. I can assure you of that. I killed her myself, you see. What? I'm sorry, did I stutter? I killed her. Snake's face twisted into a mask of rage. Mottled red rising to a dot, his pale skin. What? His entire body shook. He looked at Junpei disturbingly like a demon. I would have rather she died with less suffering. A bullet in her brain, perhaps, would have been ideal. Unfortunately, that would have made quite a bit of noise. Circumstances being what they were, I was forced to settle for a knife. But one the ninth man had, you remember. I believe I caught her just below the shoulder blade. I was rather lucky, in fact. My first thrust went right through her ribs. The flesh was so soft. My knife slid in so easily. There was no resistance. That feeling was... thankfulness. I feel rather excited. It's a powerful memory. Someday, perhaps. I hope I can feel it again. Incineration will begin in 7 minutes. I'm going to kill you.